Julian Alaphilippe back to his twitchy best. Has Jonas Vingegaard been on holiday? And UAE play the numbers game. San Sebastian 2024, 236 Ks long, starting and finishing in San Seb. We've got the Haiscabel Erlaitz combo for the second and third last climbs. And then the last climb is a special one. 2 Ks, 10% with steep pinches in it near the finish. Simon Kerr was the last of the breakaway riders to stay up the road, and Visma Lisa Bike were controlling all day for the Tour de France runner-up who'd returned to racing. Sepp Kuss just won Vuelta a Burgos. I just went on holiday to Hondarribia about a week ago. It was really nice. Well, actually, I stayed in San Sebastian and then I went to Hondarribia. I really like it there. Erlaitz is the climb. Remco danced away from Simon Felipe Yates on in 2022, 4Ks, 10%, really hard climb. And this was where everyone expected Visma Lisa Bike or Jonas Vingegaard to light things up, being one of the hardest climbs on the parkour, and it wasn't them. Lipovitz attacks, Alaphilippe goes over the top of him, he's back in good shape with transfer rumours abounding. Simon Yates dropped, and with Visma not doing anything, Sivakov jumps across, and UAE can start to play the numbers. So Sivakov on the longest climb remaining drops Alaphilippe, and look, Visma aren't even in Group 2. They've chased all day, paced all day, and they're not even going to come top 30 in this race. So a disaster for them. Who knows what went wrong, because Hambala obviously was pacing for a reason, and Vingegaard's dropped from Group 3 and abandons the race eventually. Kuss also dropped from Group 2. So Sivakov goes clear, in great situation for UAE. They've got McNulty and Hirschi mucking things up, not chasing in Group 2. There's Kroon and Van Aertvelt for Lotto Destiny. So looking good for UAE. Perfect tactics, and that group doesn't function. So more riders come back that have been dropped. Kroon, Van Aertvelt, and Van Gils were the 3 Lotto Destiny riders in that group, and they really wanted to go for Van Aertvelt. So Van Gils and Kroon went all out. They had 2 really, really good Hill Classics riders, and they went basically all out pulling to bring back Pavel Sivakov. That was Group 3 with Landa and Kuss, and Sivakov's got to navigate the flat run-in before this last climb. He goes past, it's a 3 Michelin star restaurant, I can't remember the name on the run-in he goes past, and then just before you enter San Sebastian, I think it's on this road here, like there's a hilly road, it's before when you turn right onto this road. Anyway, they go through the finish line area, Sivakov being held at about 16 seconds. The Pilotegi, I wasn't familiar with this climb before. Look at those purple sections. In the Basque Country, they got their own grading system. Usually it's just like black grading for anything over 10%. They've got an over 15% purple grading system. There's like up to 27% pinches on this climb. So Sivakov nursing a 13-second gap after doing a 45-minute solo is not going to last very long on this climb, even though it is short. And Alaphilippe attacks again on the first steep part here. She responds to him, McNulty close. But Mike Woods and Van Aertvelt, they start further back, and their entry, their poor position, it costs, particularly I think Van Aertvelt in the end actually. Conrad entered in good position. He starts to move. It's not a name I haven't heard for a long time. And you see Van Aertvelt, he's having to bridge across himself to the group of McNulty, Hirschi, Alaphilippe, Narvaez. So yeah, position's important, even on these steep climbs, particularly entering, and then when there's attacks ahead. If you're caught behind or boxed in, or someone drops the wheel in front of you, you see how narrow it is. It's not exactly the easiest thing to move up. Jefferson Cepeda trying to come across, he was really good in Burgos, and now the second extended steep part starts with McNulty pushing, Hirschi doing his own tempo, slows down a little bit, Alaphilippe looking around, and Van Aertvelt, probably he is the pure climber, let's say, of the group of mostly punchers. He comes to the front and starts pushing his own tempo through the throng of Basque fans. Kevin Vermaak doing really, really well for DSM. And then Alaphilippe, just before the top, uses his punch. This is on the shallower section, punches away from Van Aertvelt, and it kicks up a little bit at the end. And if Van Aertvelt was on 1 second, basically, from Hirschi's back wheel, that very, very quickly, with these two beginning to collaborate on the downhill, becomes 7 seconds to 10 seconds. So small margins. It looks huge, this gap, and it is a big gap that he'll never bridge, Van Aertvelt. But if he started the climb in good position, I'm sure he would have been with these two. Now, probably wouldn't have changed the result because they're both faster in a sprint. And Alaphilippe, this is peak Alaphilippe. Remember, every Liège-Bastogne-Liège final after the Rochefort-Foucault, every time Alaphilippe would just get insanely nervous and twitchy, and this is what happens. He tightens the right shoe before, he goes left again, and then he starts tightening the right shoe again for the sprint with 3.8 k's to go, kind of letting Hirschi just do the rest of the descent himself. So it means it's good to see Alaphilippe back, and certainly he was in fantastic shape. He's marginally, or was marginally stronger than Hirschi on the climb, but Hirschi didn't need to drop anybody. He can trust his sprint. And they don't really need to keep Van Aert behind, but they don't know what's going on. They're talking to each other, they're saying, do you know what the gap is? Do you know who's behind us? And 2.2 k's to go. They're both just furiously looking back. Two guys that would probably trust their sprint. Hirschi definitely would trust his sprint. I mean, he probably would have won that Liège that was Alaphilippe got relegated for in 2020 when Roglic won. He, generally speaking, does have a better sprint than Alaphilippe, and Alaphilippe's looking behind furiously, and even if he does see Van Aert, like, what's Van Aert going to do? Chasing full gas against these two guys, and here Alaphilippe basically loses the race. Hirschi flicks him, 600 meters to go. He has to sit in the wheel of Hirschi. He has to sit there, and he doesn't. He goes back to the front, and Hirschi says, thank you very much. He may not have won a World Tour race, Hirschi, since Flèche Wallonne in 2020, but he's actually still been very, very good in the Hill Classics, even on .pro. He just, from a consistency perspective, unbelievably good. Takes a run at Alaphilippe's back wheel, and probably with his best performance for 4 years, wins Clasica San Sebastian. Big win for him. He's out of contract as well. Rumoured to be leaving maybe UAE Team Emirates. Alaphilippe also on the transfer market. So big results for the both of them, with Van Aert third, Vermaeke fourth, lovely result. Then Narvaez, Powers, Conrad, Woods, Kristen and McNulty rounding out the top 10. Here's what Hirschi had to say after the stage.
I was super hard. Alaphilippe went the attack in the start. We went so fast, then we dropped a little bit the speed. And then, in this climb with so many people, you just suffer to the top. And then we look back and we were only two. We knew that we have to continue. And then we had a nice sprint together.
Your team, the UAE, was the strongest team in the Classic.
Yes, we were surprised that Vingegaard didn't feel so strong on the second last climb. So actually want to follow Vingegaard, but we had the plan if after the tour, if he not feel super, we're gonna attack with Pavel or Jan. And then it was super good for us because we sit on the wheel. I think when there is one less Lotte Sudal guy, Pavel will win today. They close, we were ready. We were there 3 guys still. So we went full gas on the last climb.
Hope you enjoyed the video. We have the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift starting on Monday. Make sure you go and check out the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast preview for that. Link down below. Ciao.